morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today morning to talk about our latest security offering, which is the ZECURe SOC, or Security Operations Center. As you can see the quote here from Stefan Napo, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and a few minutes of a cyber incident to ruin it. This holds true in today's world more than any other time in our lives. This is mostly thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic and a lot of people working from home, and the rapid digital transformation that is taking place in the entire globe. With this in mind, Microsoft has come up with a cloud-based SOC solution, which is something called Azure Sentinel. And ZILLIONe is proud to bring you Sentinel-based solutions and build our own SOC on top of that. Today with me, I have two of my colleagues. One is Udesh from ZILLIONe, who is a security expert on Microsoft for the last 15 years. And I also have Kiran from Microsoft APAC, who is an absolute guru in the area of security with the Microsoft solutions. So I'm very happy to have been able to talk to you today, and let me hand it over to Kiran to tell you more about Azure Sentinel, which will change your view on what SOC is. Over to you, Kiran.
Thanks, Sujan. Hello, everyone. Good morning to you all. I hope you're all safe, doing good during this pandemic situation. I'm really excited to be here today to talk about Azure Sentinel. This is one of our latest cybersecurity solutions from Microsoft. So today, my session would cover on the overview of it, and then I also have a small demo on Sentinel, which I'll be showcasing it. There is a lot of value prop for customers like you to start using Azure Sentinel in your environment. Now, let me quickly bring up my slides, and then we'll go from there. Udesh or Sujan, can you confirm if you can see my slides?
Yes, Kiran. They're visible
Awesome.
now.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Right. So as I mentioned, right, so today's session is Azure Sentinel, and Sujan introduced me as Kiran. So my name is Kiran. I'm a senior cloud solution architect based out of Singapore, and I cover Microsoft's APAC as a region. This is my email address in case if you want to reach out to, and then I also have my own blog on Microsoft cybersecurity. So you can actually find a lot of good information about Microsoft security over there. So in case if you want to get in touch, please do so. Right. So now to get into this today's topic, right? I mean, this is one of the biggest challenge we have seen in the market, especially with a lot of customers, that their digital estate is actually expanding, right? Because now customers like you have actually moved on to the cloud. You have mobile workforce, so there is actually no network perimeter kind of a thing. Your digital assets, your users, their devices are all across everywhere, right? So they are constantly moving, and this also brings a lot of challenges for the IT to protect those users and those devices from all the cyber threats which are happening today, right? So with that, we are also seeing a lot of other challenges, especially when it comes to the security operations center, the traditional ones. It requires a huge investment. So about SIEM solutions, right? Security Information Events Management. So that is a kind of a solution which actually gives you visibility of what's happening in your entire network. It collects a lot of logs from many different data sources, and then it does the correlation and then tells you like what kind of threats or attacks are happening in your environment. But the solution or the technology is really good, but we have seen that there are a lot of challenges, with the traditional SOC, because this particular solution, the on-premises or the traditional SOC, we are talking about a technology which is about 15 or 20 years, ago, right? I mean, these SIEM solutions are designed about 20 years ago. Customers started using them, but they don't really communicate well with today's technologies, to today's cloud environments. That's one of the biggest challenges what we have seen. And we are also seeing that there is a lot of false positive alerts coming in, and the IT analyst or the security analyst spends a lot of time in going through the investigation, in identifying whether is this attack or threat is real or not. And then, at the end of the day, after putting all his efforts, he will recognize that this is a typical behavior of a server or a solution, and it is false positive. So there are a lot of high volume noisy alerts which a security analyst has to really go through and then come to a conclusion whether is it real threat or not a real threat, right? Plus, they also spend a lot of time in deployment and maintenance, right? Most of the times, the IT's job would be to ensure these, the SIEM servers are up and running. And typically, you would need about anywhere between 6 to 10 different SIEM servers, depending on how large your environment is, for you to have a proper SOC environment, and then you manage and maintain and operate it, right? So typically, most of the time, the IT would spend in ensuring these servers are up and running. Plus, it requires a huge infrastructure cost to maintain. You need to plan your storage, you need to plan your hardwares, you need to plan your processing capability, memory, the entire hardware itself, architecture. So there are a lot of investment comes in for you to have a SOC environment, right? Then we also seen that there is a huge gap in security skills in the market. There is a huge shortage of supplies for the good security professionals, right? That is something of a very big concern. And these technologies are also lack automation, because these are like 15-20 years old technologies. They don't understand what is automation, what is playbooks, right? So there is, everything goes as a manual work for you, and that takes up a lot of time for your IT to literally take a necessary actions, right? Plus, you might have too many the vendor solutions like Symantec or McAfee or Microsoft or Palo Alto, these kind of too many solutions which are actually disconnected products. Symantec would not talk to Microsoft, right? Or McAfee would not talk to FireEye because those are completely two different solutions. So how do you ensure all these solutions can actually help you connect to each other? So that is a huge challenge what we have. Now, what we have done is we have seen that using machine learning and artificial intelligence would actually help you help your team save a lot of their efforts, right? They can actually cut down the noise from the false positive alerts, right? They can focus more on the real work, on the real threat, rather than going behind the false positive alerts, right? So today, machine learning and artificial intelligence have really helped security operations team to improve their efficiency, to improve the the detection rate for all the cyber threats. Now, that is why we have reimagined the Azure Sentinel. Microsoft Azure Sentinel is a 100% cloud native SIEM solution, SIEM plus SOAR. SIEM, as I mentioned, it is security incidents events management, plus SOAR is security orchestration, automation, and remediation, right? Now with Sentinel, what we have done is we have simplified your data collection. Now for your traditional SIEM solutions, you need to ingest or you need to take the logs and then manually upload them into SIEM. And then the SIEM solution would take those logs and then they start doing the correlation, right? They start doing the threat exploration. With Sentinel, what we have done is we have completely simplified the way you do the data collection. I heard during my experience, I heard a lot of customers telling us that it took almost 3 months, 2 to 3 months for them to get Office 365 data into their SIEM solution. That's a lot of time, right? And it took almost more than a year for them to get almost 80% of the organization's log into the SOC center. That's like 1 year of effort, and not even 100%, it's about 70 to 80% is what they could success with, right? So that's a huge time spent, effort, and money also spent in order to ensure, like, you have all the right locks for you to do the correlation with your SIEM solution, right? Now with Microsoft Azure Sentinel, we have actually simplified all those stuff. So we have a data connectors. I'll show you in my demo that literally with just one click, you can ingest the Office 365 or Azure or a lot of other Microsoft plus third-party solutions into Azure Sentinel. And it can actually start seeing the data, and then it will start doing the correlation and threat exploration for you. It will actually detect the threats in no time. We use intelligence, we use artificial intelligence embedded into the solution, which will actually detect the threats in faster rate, and it's a real threat. It can cut down all the false positive noisy alerts for you. We also do the investigation. We provide you a visualization of your investigation, so you can visualize how the threat evolved over time in your network. If it was a phishing attack, from the phishing attack, how did the attack got into a device, and when the device actually came inside the network, how did the attack move from one device to another device? You can literally visualize that. And then you can also visualize that there was an mass download of data overnight, right? Maybe 2 GB of 3 GB of data has been downloaded. From which device, who was the user, from which location? You can actually get all this information in a visualized format using the Azure Sentinel. Plus, when it comes to respond, this is something we do. We basically help automate a lot of common tasks as well as the threats which are detected. For example, if there is an identity compromise happen and we see that there is a threat of impossible travel profile, same users logging in typically in 5 minutes duration from 2 different countries altogether. Maybe one is from Sri Lanka, the other one is from Australia. And within 5 minutes, who can travel to these 2 countries? No one, right? So we know that it's an impossible travel profile. That means the identity might have compromised for the user, and we would literally take a necessary action to block that particular user from accessing any of your corporate data, right? So Azure Sentinel, we have done a lot of good stuff on how do you ingest the data back into your SIEM solutions, how do you detect threats, do a proper thorough investigation, and then use automation in order to take necessary common actions, right? And the good thing about Azure Sentinel, it's limitless. It is completely runs on cloud, so you really don't need to plan for any kind of on-premises infrastructure. The another good thing about Azure Sentinel is you can bring your Office 365 data with a free of cost. We don't charge you anything to get to ingest the data of your Office 365 or Azure environment, or even a lot of M365, Microsoft 365 security solutions alerts. It's a free of cost for you. So today, if you're a customer who is running Office 365 along with Microsoft Defender ATP or Office 365 ATP, you can basically ingest alerts at no cost. There is absolutely no cost for you to run a SOC environment with Microsoft solutions on it. Then Microsoft's biggest advantage is, like, the company itself, right? The reputation of Microsoft. And what we are doing it is, like, Microsoft is investing $1 billion on an annual basis on cybersecurity solutions to research and development purpose. Okay, we have over 3,500 dedicated security experts, okay, who actually works to develop the solutions to ensure it meets all your requirements, and then we have the world-class protection for your network, for your environment, right? And Microsoft is the only company today where we, like, our numbers speaks. Today, we almost get 8 trillion signals on a daily basis. Microsoft machine learning is trained against 8 trillion signals on a daily basis. So we know what kind of threats are happening on internet, on customers' environment. So if you have seen a new type of attack happening in one of our customers' Office 365 tenant, we can immediately detect that, and then we will ensure the same attack is not repeated on our other customers' tenants. So that's like huge advantage, right? Now I was talking about no infrastructure, right? So that's absolutely true. Since the entire solution works on Azure infrastructure, you don't need any kind of infrastructure. You can immediately turn on Azure Sentinel in your environment, and then you can ingest the data literally with just one click. I'm going to show you that in my demo. And literally in less than 24 hours, you have a security operations center working and running in your environment with the data on it, with the correlations, with threat investigations, exploration, everything, literally. So we have simplified a lot of stuff. So there is absolutely no burden on customers like you to invest huge infrastructure to create a SOC environment. And today, even customers who are like having 300 users, 500 users, even 1,000 users can actually use Azure Sentinel to detect threats in their environment. Okay, we have actually made a SIM service as available in Azure portal, and it scales automatically. So usually for your on-premises infrastructure, you need to plan your hardware, you need to size your processing and memory and storage capability, right? Now with Azure Sentinel, since it runs everything on the cloud, 100% cloud native, you really don't need to worry about anything. So if you require a lot of processing power for Azure Sentinel, it will automatically scale up because it completely runs on Azure environment. And then we have all the power it requires to process a huge data. Like if you are ingesting GBs of data, terabytes of data, and then Azure Sentinel needs more resources to process it, to parse the logs, and then do a correlation. Or everything happens automatically. You don't need to literally worry about anything. Now, what we have done is data is the most important factor for SIEM solutions, right? The more the data, the more the log you ingest, the more visibility you get it, right? Now, what we have done is we have a pre-wired integration for almost all Microsoft solutions. So we call this as data connectors. Service to service, Azure Sentinel service to MDATP or Azure ATP or Microsoft Cloud Application Security or Office 365. So we have a out of the box data connectors which will actually connect to this service and then immediately sends out the data, and Azure Sentinel can actually start detecting threats for your identities, for your users, for the devices on the cloud applications, everything in no time. And we also help you connect to a lot of third-party solutions, like if you're running a Palo Alto firewall or a Cisco appliance, Checkpoint, Fortinet, F5, semantic solutions, be it software or be it hardware, be it servers, Linux servers, Unix servers, Windows servers. We can actually connect Azure Sentinel to all your on-premises appliances, servers, third-party solutions, and then you can actually ingest the data back into Sentinel for all those third-party solutions. And we have actually simplified that with our data connectors. Now, this is also something, being also very flexible, and you can customize, you can bring your own machine learning model if that's something you have created for yourself, or if you are using open source threat intelligence, you can actually bring in those. You can bring your own machine learning models to into Azure Sentinel so that you can actually tell how to detect it, right? So there are a lot of flexibility for you to customize your environment. Now, this is the investigation I was talking about, a visualization way. Like you can actually see that you have a failed logons anomaly. So here you can actually see this is an event or an alert which is triggered in Azure Sentinel. And then from there, you can actually see this logon anomaly happened by a user called Darcy, right? And from there, there was another machine was accessed. From there, like, there were some more anomalies happened. So you can actually see there was a mass download, there was a sign in happened, and then from mass download, they were actually accessed these many different computers or endpoints in your network. Okay, so you can actually connect the dots from one alert to other alert and then see that all this actually happened by one hacker or one attack. They basically came through one machine and then they downloaded these many stuff and then they tried to move from one machine to another machine. So this actually helps you visualize how an attack moved inside an organization and where all they went, what kind of applications they accessed, what kind of IP address they connected, right? Which databases they have accessed it. So you get the complete picture of an attack using the investigation, and you can actually visualize the entire attack and its impact. Okay. Now I was also talking about the automation. So we have a built-in automated playbooks which you can actually integrate with Azure Sentinel. So we use Logic Apps Designer to it, and then you can actually integrate and then do automation to your security products, to your ticketing systems like ServiceNow, Jira, or any other ticketing system if you're using it. So there are hundreds of tools, connectors available where you can, when the alert is triggered on Azure Sentinel, it will immediately send out a signal to ServiceNow to open up an incident, and then it will send out a message to security analyst or security manager to his email as a text message or even Teams message. And then it will tell you to do further investigation. And once the investigation is done, if it is false and positive or false negative, whatever it is, like, once the security analysts say that, okay, now I've went through my investigation, I think this threat is real, I want to block this particular IP address or a user in my network. So he just clicks on approve, and Azure Sentinel will contact Palo Alto Firewall to block a bad IP address, or it will contact the Azure Identity Protection Services to block the user. So the next step, what you need to do is, like, you should try Azure Sentinel, how it works. So you can actually go here to see more information about Azure Sentinel, aka.ms/Azure Sentinel. Please try the trial and then see how this entire solution works. ZILLIONe is trained by Microsoft on Azure Sentinel. They are the fantastic partners you have in Sri Lanka, and they also have their own SOC center, Security Operations Center, completely on Azure Sentinel. So if any of you are interested to know more about the Azure Sentinel and then see how it can function in your network to detect the threats, the cyber attacks, you should immediately talk to the ZILLIONe representatives. Now with that, let me quickly show you a demo of Azure Sentinel. Now this is my screen. So I've a Sentinel instance here. Now you can actually see this is a dashboard, so you can actually see all the events and alerts over time. You can actually see the last 1 day, 24 hours, 48 hours, or you can also give a custom range and then see that for the last 3 months, what kind of events, alerts Sentinel recorded, right? And you can also see all the recent incidents, like if there are any suspicious activities, network requests, ransomware activities. You can see that Sentinel has detected these events, and these are the recent ones. So you can also look more information here and bring your own machine learning models, the data source anomalies, and all those stuff. Now let me show you about the data connectors. Now data connectors is the first step you need to do in order to get the data into Sentinel. Now you can actually see we have a number of data connectors like Azure Active Directory, Amazon Web Services, we have identity protection, we have DDoS, we have AIP, we have Azure Security Center, we have Barracuda Firewall. So if you are running a Barracuda firewall, you can connect Azure Sentinel to Barracuda Firewall, and then Barracuda will send all the logs to Azure Sentinel, and Sentinel will give you a correlation of the logs. We also support Checkpoint, Cisco. You can actually see that there are a lot of third-party, most popular cybersecurity vendors are already supported with Sentinel. And this list literally grows. Yesterday we were 56. Today when I opened, it's already like 57. So I think today morning we have released one new connector. So this list would grow. Last month, we were at 39 connectors. Now this month we are at 57, and literally this list will grow. Microsoft will develop more and more connectors. But apart from that, you can also connect or create your own connectors. OK, now if you don't see a connector for the solutions which you are using, then you can actually use the syslog format. So this is the industry standards, right, for event logging. It's a syslog is an event logging protocol which you can actually use to connect to your Linux servers, to your application servers, to third-party vendors, appliances, all those, and then from there you can actually get your data into Sentinel. Now let me show you an example. Like, if you can see, like out of my 57 connectors, I have actually connected 21 here. Now let me see what are the connectors I have connected here. So if you see, like, okay, now these are the connectors. So that means I'm using Amazon in my environment, and I want to see what's happening in Amazon environment. So if I click on it, I open the connector page, and then it talks about how do you do the configuration, how should you connect Azure Sentinel to AWS. So it's very simple. You have an article here. If you click on it, it will tell you the step-by-step the methods for you. Now, once you have connected the connector, now if you want to see what is happening in your Amazon's environment in terms of network traffic or user activity, then we have something called as workbooks. We call this as dashboards also, but it comes with the connector. So Microsoft has taken the responsibility to create dashboards for the connectors also. So these are the pre-built dashboards which are available. So if you want to see all the network activities on Amazon Web Service, okay, you can just open this dashboard and you can actually see all the activities, network activities by your users in your environment, right? So this is a kind of a dashboard. So it very, very comprehensive. It actually talks about all the regions. If you have multiple regions using Amazon Web Services, it can actually cover all those network events by region, by types. You can actually see all the event names, lot of other information, network events, and so on, right? Now, if you also want to see something like user activities, you can actually open, and you can also see what are the user activities for Amazon Web Service. And there are workbooks which are available for a lot of these solutions. Okay, even for solutions like Checkpoint or Palo Alto, we do have workbooks which you can use it as a dashboard. Okay, and then see what's happening inside your environment. Now, let me show you one other one, like Palo Alto, for example, the most common firewalls which are used. So we have, it talks about how do you connect Palo Alto firewall to Azure Sentinel. So there is a complete configuration steps given to you. You just need to follow that. And then if you click on network threat, and then you want to see all the network threats which Palo Alto has been detected, you can basically open that particular dashboard. So I think in my case, it's not giving enough data. Probably if I select the last 60 days, since it's a demo portal, and my demo is really not connected to Palo Alto firewall, but then you get an idea of how this entire thing works, right? Now, the next thing you need to do is, like, once you have the data connectors created, you need to create rules in order to detect. And these rules, like, what happens if there is a malicious connection coming into your Office 365 environment, or if there is a malicious inbox rules, or there is a suspicious application consent for Office 365, right? So when these kind of things happens, like, what should be the necessary action, right? So there are a lot of built-in templates which Microsoft has created based on our own experience and expertise. Now you can actually use these templates to detect an attack, okay, and then you can create a rule from here. So it talks about, we use the fusion technology here to detect multi-stage of the attacks, okay, which happens on the identity protection or cloud app security. Right, so you can actually create rules here, and these are built-in templates. So you can actually see we use KQL language here to create the rules. So if you're really good at scripting, you will understand this much better. And you can take this as a template and then create your own rule. You can modify this and then create a rule, a new rule out of this particular template. So once you have done this, when the rule matches, it will actually turn out as an incident. So this is where you can actually see all the incidents which are happening in your environment. Now you can actually see there was a malicious URL detected. There was some Mimikatz tools were detected. That means there is an hacker inside, and then he is using Mimikatz tool to attack your network. There was a password a spray attack happened. There was malicious credential theft detected. Now, if you click on any of these incidents and then click on investigate, this is where it will actually take you and then give you that visualized format. So now here, for one of the examples, like, there was a anomalous login, and this happened by a user called Darcy. And then if I click on more related alerts, it will actually tell you that Darcy actually performed a suspicious PowerShell command. And she also downloaded malicious, mass download. She downloaded some data, and then there was some sign in happened, right? Now, if you click on this timeline, it tells you, like, how each event or an incident occurred, what date and time, okay, it happened, and what is that event. So this is like happening connection to a malicious URL. So Darcy actually connected to a malicious URL on this particular date and time. And then from there was an anomaly login happened. Then after that, there was a PowerShell, suspicious PowerShell activity detected. Then we have multiple computers login, and then finally they did a mass download. So now you know that, like, how the alert or a threat came in, from where it came in, who was the user, and after that, what kind of attacks have happened inside your environment, right? So that is how you do it. Then we also have some playbooks. We also have automation, which you can actually use it. So we do threat hunting. If you're really good in scripting, you can actually go ahead and do the threat hunting here, write your queries, and then find out how this entire things are happening. So for example, I have an example query. For example, you can actually see there are a lot of these queries which are built by Microsoft. So you can actually use this, run this query, and then see what are the results. Okay. So with that, I think, with the interest of time, let me hand this over back to Udesh and team to introduce the ZILLIONE's SOC environment. I mean, they have created a fantastic security operations center completely on the Azure Sentinel. And then they also created some playbooks and use case scenarios. So let me hand it over to Udesh to take it further on that for introduction on ZILLIONE SOC. Udesh, over to you.
Thank you, Kiran. Okay, so we'll talk about what ZILLIONE offers for our customers. And okay, so with ZILLIONE, actually, when we talk about what we have to offer for our customers, with the security operations center architecture, actually we have covered Office 365 endpoint and same time identity and access management and hybrid infrastructure and apps. All these things we manage, and what we do is we connect these things to Azure Sentinel with the Microsoft Threat Protection Platform. So with the MTP, these services we directly connected to the Azure Sentinel, and from there we do the entire SOC practices. So we have the Microsoft Intelligent Security Associations with us. So for an example, most of the common firewalls that people use in Sri Lanka, for an example, FortiGate, Sophos, Checkpoint, CyberArk, all these things can be directly connect to Azure Sentinel because it has all the connections built in. So all these things we can use there, and we can analyze and see what is happening in the SOC environment. So we'll talk about the our SOC framework. What we do there, we actually using Sentinel, we identify what is happening in your environment. Then we do the protection part, detection, response, and recovery. So entire this cycle we do for our customers. Actually, what we specialize in is like when we come to the visibility, we create the workbooks, and these workbooks actually there are some built-in templates. So these things we can activate. And at the same time, if customer wants any kind of a specialized workbook, we can create it. And the same time, not only the workbooks, when it comes to the playbooks, that's the automation part for the protection. So we can create these playbooks and actually give the entire protection to our customers. So I will give a short demo also what sort of playbooks available and what sort of playbooks that we have developed to and to our protection to automate the response and all those things, and we will share that right now. So this is the framework that we are working on. We do the identification, protection part, detection, response, and recovery. We have a dedicated team in ZILLIONe to do all these things for our customers. So we undertake the entire security operations center practices for our valuable customers. Then I will show you a quick demo on what we do actually. We have created two playbooks. So first one is conditional access. In the conditional access, what we do, here you can see. Now, for an example, here in this situation, there's a conditional access thing is happening. Can you see like only one IP is there? For an example, in this situation, what we do is you can see there's a attack is happening for an for the names. So it's a kind of a attack for the account lookout. Now you can see in here account lookout activities are happening. In the account lookout activity, when we detect it, actually what we can do, these playbooks we can map into these activities and we can automate the response. In this in this scenario, actually to run it, we do it manually as a demo purpose, and we run the playbook by click on that. So once you click on the playbook, you can see it's automatically running in the backend, and it will add all these attackers IPs into the blocked list. So once you comes to the again in the blocked IP, you can see now this has actually in the these two IPs has come newly. So that means it has blocked all these IPs. So this is one of the scenario that we have built in for our customers. This is kind of a playbook that we have created, and in this scenario, actually, customer don't have to do anything manually. It's automated, the protection part. So I will demo another one. So this is actually a kind of another attack we are talking about. In this scenario, we are actually demonstrating kind of a IIS attack, or else for an example, you have an IIS server, web server in the backend. So when you check on the firewall, actually we use the NSG as a firewall. Here you don't have anything, but actually now in the incident happened again. This is kind of a IIS where user agent string happened. Actually, you can map any kind of attacks like this way, and based on the incident, based on the situation, you can map the workbooks what you want to do. earlier we just block the IPs for the multi-factor for the conditional access, but in here it's a firewall, so we are not going to block just IPs. So what we are trying to do is here we are sending an alert to the administrator. There something has happened and it's trying to block the IPs. So admin has to approve it. Now in this example, can you see there's a message comes to email comes to the admin. Once he approved, then it will go to the go back to the again normal process, and it will block the firewall a couple of ports. So this is just an example what we have done for the automation part. Based on your request, we can completely do this kind of automations in your environment. Here you can see now port 80 has blocked from the firewall, and this kind of a complete automation we can do in your environment. So let me take this back. Okay. Right. So so how you can get a hands-on experience into this kind of a workbooks or this kind of a playbooks? Actually, the easiest way is we are having Microsoft Cloud accelerators for M365. So these are kind of a workshops Microsoft has given to you free of charge, so you can experience all these activities. Let's see what Microsoft Cloud accelerators it does. Actually, when you're using this cloud accelerators, it's a kind of a pre-made workshop for all the users, all the customers from Microsoft, so you can see the latest technology, and it's a kind of a on-site experience in your environment itself. It's not a demo, it's not a kind of a POC that you're running, it's completely hands-on experience in your existing environment. So by doing this kind of workshops, actually you can see what is happening in the environment and what kind of things you can prioritize, and how you can mitigate these potential threats. And not only that, some workshops are there to increase your productivity as well. We'll see what sort of workshops are available. So mainly we have secure remote workshops, and we have security. Under security, we have a couple of workshops. For example, security workshop is there, and compliance workshop is there, and identity workshop is there. So under security, actually, there are another workshops that is actually add-on as a Sentinel, and for the identity, we have device management as another add-on. But when it comes to these security components, all these things you can run in your environment. The team side, actually, that is another aspect. So you can run these workshops as a call-in workshops or meeting workshops or absent solution workshop. I will take you all these things now, right now, what it does. So we'll go into the Sentinel security workshop. So when you run this workshop in your environment, you can, if you're having more than 1,000 users, you are readily available. But if you're having 300 to 1,000 users, yes, those users also entitled to get this workshop done. And what we do, actually, we conduct a session on Microsoft security, and we monitor your environment for 2 weeks and review the security posture. And actually, we conduct the threat analysis in your environment by using the Azure Sentinel. So this is what we do. Within 3 weeks kind of a time period, 3 to 4 weeks kind of time period, we can get this workshop done for you. So this is giving, actually this will give you a complete understanding about how your environment behave, and what sort of security posture you are having, and what sort of security threats you are getting. So all these things you can get the visibility. So this is something you might not have seen earlier. Then you are getting the complete visibility in your environment. So this workshop, actually, again, I'm saying, is free of charge for all these users, and we can get this done for you. And the next one is secure remote workshop. This, I think, I will take you very quickly, and what extra we do. So mainly in the secure remote workshop also, you can conduct this environment analysis by a survey, and we conduct the session on Microsoft Teams and security and identities. So this is kind of a 1 week engagement here. The benefit for you is you can enable users, you can see with Microsoft Teams what they can do, and it's increasing the usage what you have paid for. And same time for your IT staff, it's a kind of a good session, and you can see what capabilities Microsoft having to secure what your staff is doing. Apart from that, the compliance workshop is really important for most of the top enterprises we are having. It's really great to do this kind of a workshop. So here you can see the compliance strategy, MT64 compliance products what they have, and content search, e-discovery, information protection, all this data you can see in here. This kind of a workshop will take maximum of 2 weeks kind of a time period. As a kind of a outcome, you can configure the data risk check, and you can complete the discovery using data risk check, and same time you can get the reports and you can get the findings about the recommendations. And not only that, you can get adaptation and the planning deployment guidance as well. So how you can make your environment compliant, and so what sort of standards are there with Microsoft, and how Microsoft can support you to comply yourself with these standards. So these are the security workshops that we have. And the one important thing, another one is identity. Plus the device management part is coming soon, but identity protection workshop is also available. Here, actually, we are specialized only on the identity part. Apart from the kind of overview security, overall security posture, in this workshop, we focus on the identity protection part. So how we can protect the identity, because most of the attacks happening in currently in this world mainly based on the identity theft. So how you can make sure your identity are protected, and how Microsoft can help you to improve your identity protection. So this is kind of a 1 week engagement. Here we, as an outcome, we design and we plan session for the identity, and we document the key result what you are getting, and we will give you the recommendations as well. So in this situation, in this workshop, you can see actually hands-on experience into your environment, what sort of identity protection you are having, and how you can improve it further. And we have another 3 workshops that I will run through very quickly. Teams call-in workshop, kind of a VoIP VoIP platform and analysis for the existing PBX system. So if you're really interested in using Microsoft Teams as a call-in platform, you can get this workshop done. It's a kind of a 1 week time period, so you can get the hassle-less telephony solution in your hand with Microsoft Teams. And Teams meeting, this will be improved your users capabilities of Microsoft Teams, and we will help you to, and we will help you, we will guide your users how Microsoft Teams can be used in a production environment, and how your users can use it more to be more productive. So all these things will be discussed in the meetings and meeting rooms workshop. And finally, Teams app and solution workshop. Teams is a platform, so you can develop more and more apps on top of Teams, and you can integrate all these things with Microsoft Teams. So in this workshop, we will be discussing how you can do the development part, and we will demonstrate sample bot integrations as well, Power Apps usage, guidance to the enable on Power Apps on Team. So all these things we will be doing in this workshop. So these are a couple of things you can do in order to actually increase your productivity further. That's about the Microsoft security components, and the actually the complete way of how you can benefit Microsoft security, and how you can use it further. Apart from that, actually what we had mentioned is like, kindly contact quickly all of your sales representative from ZILLIONe, so you can get experience all these things live, and you can see what is happening there, and what is happening in your environment, how you can protect it, and how you can make sure your environment is more secure. So these things we can do it right now. So give us a quick call, and we can execute all these workshops in your environment. Kiran, anything else you want to add? So that's all from our side, and I have covered what we are doing in the production environment.
Yeah, good session, Udesh. Just wanted to let the customers know that it's a great opportunity for them to know what's happening by running the assessments, right? And you guys are trained really well. So my only request is please reach out to the ZILLIONe team and then try and do the workshops or the assessments, identity or security workshop or even compliance with Sentinel as well. And this comes free of cost for you. And ZILLIONe team has a fantastic technical team who's been trained by us, by me and Ryan. So they know what they need to do, and then how they can detect the threats, and then give you the visibility of all the cyber attacks which are happening in your environment, right? So please make use of this opportunity, and that's it from us. Thanks for joining, and if you have any questions, please use the chat panel, and we'll be there for another 5-10 minutes, and we can take up your questions. Over to you, Udesh and Sujan.
Yes, Kiran, actually, the Q&A session is open now. So if you have any questions, you can post it in the Q&A session. We have a couple of moderators in the back end. So mainly Ryan also with us for the Q&A. So Ryan and myself, Kiran, Siddharth, all of us are in the back end, so we can answer your questions. So you can put anything on the Q&A.
Udesh, there's one question from Arshna. Is there a user limitation to sync on-prem AD users to Azure AD? What do you think? You want to answer that?
I think best people are there, so I think you're the best person, so you can answer.
Okay, no worries. So Arshna, good question. There is absolutely no user limitation. It's completely depends on how many users you have in your organization whom you want to sync. When you are planning to sync the Azure AD, ensure you have all the right tools in place to sync them. We have seen if you have to ask, we have seen customers synchronizing 200,000, 300,000 users into Azure AD. So that's like 2 lakh, 3 lakh users in the organization. So it can go that big. So there is absolutely no limitation on the number of people you can synchronize to Azure AD.
We have one more question, like what are paid available units?
Yeah, you want to take it?
Yeah, so actually with Azure AD, if it is Azure AD, actually we have a couple of plans, but if it is Sentinel, so it's based on completely how you use it and what's the usage you are having. So Azure Sentinel actually doing the calculations based on how much data you ingest there and what sort of retention you want to have. So that's the basis for the usage, the costing part. Hope I have answered what you have expected. Any more questions we have? We can answer it.
Yeah, we have another 2-3 minutes. I think, yeah, please use the chat to ask your questions, and we'll be more than happy to answer them.
Can we have one more question? How about integration between on-premise infrastructure with Sentinel?
I know who asked this. Thanks, Ryan, for this wonderful question. Yeah, I mean, Sentinel, as we spoke, right? I mean, we have data connectors which are available for the most popular the vendors who operate on premises. Like it can be your firewalls, it can be your appliances, it can be your servers, Linux servers, doesn't matter. Sentinel has connectors to most of these. Plus, we also support the industry standard protocols like syslog and CEF, custom events forwards. So these are the protocols which we use. Using this, you can actually connect to any kind of on-premises solutions. So absolutely no problem with that.
Ken, actually, we have one more question, but before we go there, I want to ask question like, if anyone is interested on Sentinel, what is the easiest way to start their journey with Sentinel?
Yeah, good question, Udesh. I think we addressed this, right? So it's trials are available. So if you go to aka.ms/Azure trial, or if you do a Google or Bing search, you will land to the Microsoft web page where you can activate your Azure Sentinel trial. The only thing you need to be sure is that you need to have an Azure environment, right? So because I told you like it's 100% cloud, so it runs on Azure the environment, Azure platform. So as long as you have an Azure subscription, you can turn on the Sentinel trial in no time, and then use data connectors and then stream Office 365 or any other data connectors to get the data into Sentinel, and then see how the correlation starts. Right? We have seen customers within half day they have a SOC environment running, because all they need to do is turn on the service. You have a SOC already enabled for you, and then use data connectors and then connect to one of your services, whatever you're using, and then it will start immediately flowing the data, and then the Sentinel starts its magic, right? So we have seen customers activating and then having a managed security operations center in less than 24 hours.
Yeah, we have like a few more questions coming in. Is Sentinel compatible with all AI platforms?
So I'm not quite clear with the question. You know, what do they mean by AI platform? So we use artificial intelligence and machine learning as part of our solution. So that is by default comes with the Sentinel. I'm not sure what is the question. If you can elaborate a bit more, whoever is asking the question, I can answer that. We also have another question when it comes to assuming no Azure right now, how long would the implementation may take? Absolutely not possible. If you don't have Azure, you need to have an Azure subscription. Until unless you have an Azure environment, you cannot turn on the Sentinel because it runs on cloud 100%. So, and you can basically, if you really want to see how Sentinel works, you can also spin out a trial tenant for Azure and then activate Sentinel service on top of that. You can actually do all this stuff without any cost in a trial environment. ZILLIONe is trained to do that. So if you really have a requirement, if you want to do that, reach out to ZILLIONe team and then they can help you out on doing that.
Yes, Ken, like if you take a general like traditional SIEM deployment, which will take a couple of months to get you some result and the visibility, where to Sentinel you can start deploying very quickly. Like even though you don't have Azure platform right now, if you have O365 environment, in that case, it's a kind of just a matter of subscribing for the Azure trial and enable Azure Sentinel. So. Correct. I believe that will be less than 1 day job.
Yeah. So there is a same user who asked the question on Sentinel compatible with all AI platforms, and then he mentioned that it's a custom-made artificial intelligence. How about that? Right? Yes. I mean, if that is the case, any machine learning model which you have built, or if you have a custom-made AI, artificial intelligence, you can bring that into Sentinel. So we use the APIs. Using the APIs and some templates, you can actually come with your own built AI and machine learning models and inject them into Sentinel. That's pretty much possible.
So it's really interesting. People are asking more and more questions. So it's really nice. Like if you need more clarity, you can ask more questions. Like we have the best people in the entire APAC with us currently, Kiran and Ryan. So they are here to support you. If no more questions are there, like in that case, we can wind up the session today. But if you have any questions, like you can directly contact ZILLIONe team. So you have the contact with you. So kindly contact us so we can support you for any clarification. And if you want to have a hands-on experience, yes, we are there to help you. So kindly keep contact us about the Azure Sentinel and how you can utilize it further. And we are ready to come into your places and do more demo on Azure Sentinel, and we'll discuss further in this detail. Ryan, I think we can wind up the session, right? In that case, Kiran?
Yes, absolutely, Udesh. If no questions, then yes, yeah. I think we are over time of 7 minutes, so it should be good. Yeah.
Yes. So thank you very much for all the participants and people who asked questions also. We really appreciate your support, and thank you very much for participating today. And do contact us. You have all of your respective our salespeople, your account managers, and kindly contact them for any clarification or any kind of a demo you needed. And thank you very much for joining today. Have a pleasant day. Thank you.
Thank you, and stay safe. Have a good day.